The first subsidy is gone.
The Nigerian Labour Congress and all its affiliates will withdraw their services and commence protests nationwide.
There is still a net deficit of 2.8 trillion naira that the Federation should have written check for us.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu is under pressure over his decision to suspend fuel subsidy in the country. The president, who was sworn in on the 29th of May, announced that fuel subsidy has been suspended by his administration during his inaugural speech, a decision that sparked criticism and reactions across the country. As it stands, Nigerians are paying more, almost doubled of amounts they used to pay to purchase petrol in different parts of the country. For example, at some filling stations across the country, people are purchasing 1 liter of petrol at the price of 550 naira. Meanwhile, in some black markets, people are buying 1 liter at the cost of 700 naira. And it has sparked reactions across the length and breadth of the country, as the Nigeria Labour Congress has threatened to down tool and collapse working structures across the country.
The NLC decided that if by Wednesday next week that the NNPC refuses to revert itself for negotiation to continue, that the Nigerian Labour Congress and all its affiliates will withdraw their services and commence protests nationwide until this is complied with. The NLC NEC therefore directed all state councils and all industrial unions to commence mobilization from this moment to make sure that this action is enforced.
But what do we know about the history of fuel subsidy? Well, fuel subsidy was first introduced in the 1970s during military administrations. During the military administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, fuel subsidy was finalized in 1977, and his government was the one that started paying fuel subsidy to subsidize the product to Nigerians at that time.
That we must produce what we need. We must curtail our appetite for what we do not produce. To ensure this, we have directed all efforts at laying the basis for the emergence of indigenous capital and innovative ability. We have endeavored to increase the volume and value of our world trade. Nigeria wants to reduce its area of dependence on the factories of the industrialized economies.
But guess what? Olusegun Obasanjo himself attempted to remove fuel subsidy, which was as a result of Nigerian government losing billions of naira to cover up the subsidy. But he could not achieve that. Up to the time he was president between 1999 and 2007 during the democratic era, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar was the chairman of the committee saddled with the responsibility of fuel subsidy removal during the Obasanjo administration. But guess what? Atiku and his committee were not able to complete their task when their tenure elapsed.
But I thought Nigerians have now come to accept my position on the issue, of subsidy removal. Recall that when I was vice president, we had designed subsidy removal in 4 stages, and I was the chairman of subsidy removal committee. At that time, I worked very, very closely with former Governor Adams Oshimole, who was then president of the NLC. And we removed subsidy phase 1, phase 2. By phase 2, by the time we finished phase 2, we had left office. We expected the next PDP government and the late Umaru Yar'Adua to continue with the phase 2 and phase 3. That would have ended the issue of subsidy. But unfortunately, the policy got stuck.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari is reported to have spent over 11 trillion naira in the last 8 years of his administration. But with this, many analysts feel like fuel subsidy is not healthy.
I wouldn't have voted for anybody who said he was going to maintain oil subsidy. And I'm very serious about that. What is the wisdom in an oil-producing country paying more than 7-point-something trillion to foreign countries to refine your oil and send it back to you? You paying their shipping line, you building their refineries abroad, when you have your 4 refineries.
Millions of Nigerians and some economic experts are concerned that prices of commodities in the market will go higher than expected, because in the country as it stands, when there is increase in prices of fuel, some commodities usually get increase in their prices in the country, which many are raising concern that the president should have introduced some palliatives even before giving that directive that fuel subsidy be removed.
NNPC Limited, a private company, was alleged to have fixed the prices of petroleum products or jacked up the price. It is clearly illegal. There is no provision for it under the law. So we hope that the government will have to go back to the drawing table.
Gaskiya in gwamnati ta cire shi don ci gabanta ne.
If the subsidy was removed for national interest, the marketers should have been consulted before the decision was finalized. The price is exorbitant.
Yanda aka ƙara kuɗin yayi yawa. Suna sayarwa 220 a farashin litan 'yan kasuwa na gidajen mai.
From 220 naira to over 500 naira. It should be reviewed to help the poor.
Ta zauna da su a san yanda za a yi a rage abun don talaka ya ji daɗi.
But we don't know how far it can go with the issue of fuel subsidy removal as it stands. Tell us in the comment section what you feel about the decision of Bola Tinubu to remove fuel subsidy.